Hi, Nick from Taunton Leisure here. Today we're going to be talking about the Salomon Crosshike 2 Mid. So Salomon market this shoe as a speed hiking shoe. It's pretty difficult to say even really what speed hiking actually is, but they say it's great for moving fast over any terrain with a lightweight pack on or just with no pack at all. So if you were going to be trekking for a long period of time with a heavy rucksack, you wouldn't buy this mid. You'd go up to a proper boot, something like the Quest 4 or something like that. But if you're going to go out for a day walk or even just a few hours and you're wearing a day bag, absolutely brilliant. This is, a really good choice for that. I think you could basically wear it for day-to-day, dog walking, whatever you want really. It's just a do-it-all shoe with a decent amount of height here to keep the worst of the boggy, wet conditions out. So yeah, I mean, you could even do a little bit of trail jogging with it. It's not designed as a running shoe, but it definitely would be capable of doing some slow jogging on softer ground up on the moor. Be quite happy with that. Okay, so let's cover the basics of their construction. So most of the upper is made of one piece of fabric. Now that fabric is really, really tightly woven nylon, which is really good. It's going to be really abrasion resistant. As you can see, all the way around the shoe, there's pretty much no stitching in that area at all. Now that's really good. Stitching's a failure point, so Salomon have worked really hard to make this whole piece of fabric there just one piece. So that works really well. Lower down on the upper there's a TPU overlay. So this is bonded to the fabric, it's not stitched as well, and it's multi-layered. So there's a lighter area here, just over the top of the foot, and then as it comes closer to the sole unit, you've got another layer of even harder wearing TPU. Now that's really good because all of this area around here is a really high abrasion area. So as you're walking around, you're going to be scuffing bits of rock and all that kind of thing. So that's really protecting the upper and adding a lot to the durability. So that works very well thought out. As you move into the tongue area of the shoe, they use a really, really light fabric in here. It's a bit difficult to show it on the video, but compared to the actual upper here, this is really soft and quite a bit thinner. So that's primarily there just to aid breathability of the shoe. Now I've got a pair of these and I've been testing them out for a few weeks now, and I can say they're extremely breathable for a Gore-Tex shoe. I was wearing them yesterday in really wet conditions, like really, really wet conditions. And actually they don't keep your feet warm at all, which is a good thing because Gore-Tex footwear can be quite warm sometimes. So yeah, that's really good for breathability for sure. And the last area of fabric is around the cuff of the shoe here. And that area is really soft as well. So there's an abrasion resistant patch on the inside where you would quite often catch that on the other shoe. So that stops this softer fabric from wearing out so fast. And this area here is really stretchy. So it's a really soft, stretchy fabric. Basically, that's there because it fits around the super soft foam all around the cuff of the shoe here. So that allows that foam to move and wrap around your ankle really well. So basically, that is the upper explained. Okay, so let's move on to the midsole. It's an EVA cushioned midsole on this one. Salomon say it's got a 35mm stack height, which is difficult to give you an idea of what 35mm stack height means, but basically it's very similar to the height of this trail running shoe, one of my old Salomon trail running shoes there. So it's got a lot of cushioning, similar to a running shoe. It's got a 10mm drop, so that means at the front of the unit it's 10mm lower than at the heel, the height inside the shoe. So that gives you a little bit of forward there, or you're pointing downhill very slightly, which helps you move forward as you're walking. And yeah, it's really, really well cushioned. As a trail walking shoe goes, it's extremely soft and comfortable. Okay, so let's move on to the sole unit of this shoe. So as you can see, it's pretty chunky. It's a Contagrip sole unit. So Salomon design and own Contagrip, so it's their own rubber. It's really, really soft. This is a Contagrip mud sole unit, so the same sole unit or the same rubber profile that they use on the Speedcross off-road trail shoes. Really, really soft. So really grippy, which is good. You definitely want that to be grippy in wet conditions. Completely different lug profile on these to the Speedcross, so the lugs are much, much firmer than the Speedcross. So they're going to work really quite well in muddy conditions. It's a multi-directional grip on this one, so it's a bit difficult to see on the camera, but the lugs in the heel area are designed for braking, so they've got a profile that works as you're trying to stop. And in the front of the shoe, they're primarily designed for drive, so just to get a really good grip as you're walking up a hill. And I can testify to them. I was out yesterday in them in really, really muddy conditions, and they were pretty decent, to be honest. So yeah, the lugs are 6mm deep. The sole unit comes up all the way over the toe, as you can see there. It's quite considerably different than the toe on a running shoe. It's those rubber lugs there actually provide quite a lot of kick protection. So married to the little TPU toe piece here, I imagine you could kick something quite solid. It wouldn't really be a problem there. So yeah, that's the sole unit explained. Okay, so let's talk about a couple of other features of the Crosshike Mid 2. Salomon use a speed lace system. They use that on a lot of their other shoes, so similar to the one on my old running shoe here. It's pretty easy to use. You literally just crank up the lace, pull down the adjuster, and then you hide it away in this little lace holder in there. Can be a little bit tricky to get that in. It's easier when you've got the footwear on, to be honest with you, to get the lace into the little hideaway area there. But it works really quite well, especially when your foot's around it and the lace can tighten up around your foot. I've had no issues with that coming loose over the period of time that I've used them, so it's been pretty good, and I've had no issues with this running shoe either, so it definitely works. Really durable, quite fast to use, so yeah, certainly easy to get the footwear off afterwards as well. So that's good. And the other main feature of the shoe is that it's Gore-Tex lined. So inside the shoe, you've got a full Gore bootie. They've gone with a really breathable shoe, full stop. I mentioned that earlier. But basically, there's absolutely no foam in and around the inside of the shoe at all on this model. So it does keep your feet really cool. So I'd say that's perfect. Again, I've only had these for a few weeks, but I've had no leaks. They do feel quite cold. If you stood in a stream, you can actually feel the coldness of the water around your foot. That would be the same with all other shoes, really. The whole shoe is treated with a DWR treatment. It's a PFC-free one, so that's good. So pretty environmentally friendly. They're really quite light. So with my little digi scales here, if you pop them on the digi scales, I think I weighed them earlier and they were about 420 grams. It varies slightly every time you put them on there, to be honest, but that's really, really light when you consider that this trail running shoe is 370 grams. So it's barely 10% heavier than that trail shoe, and it's quite a lot more shoe, as you can see. You know, the sole unit alone is incredibly chunky. So they've worked really hard to make this really light, and yeah, pretty impressive. Okay, so let's talk about the fit. They fit fairly true to size, so if you go into one of our stores and have your foot measured with a Brannock device, then they should be bringing out the same size as it measures in a Brannock device. So if you measure a 10, then they'll bring out a 10 in a box. My foot measures a 10. I actually went for a 10.5. My foot is very slightly wider than average. So I've got a D to an E fitting on a Brannock. And I felt like I needed just half a size up to allow for that width. Now you might not, because the width of your foot might be slightly different. But actually I thought it was pretty much dot on. So really sizing wise, you could say true to Brannock or half a size up. If you're buying online, maybe you might go for the half a size up unless you've got a narrow foot. So yeah, I'd say they're a medium width fitting. If you've got a really wide foot, maybe steer clear. So that was a quick look at the Salomon Crosshike Mid 2. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe and comment on our YouTube channel.